Today is the 16th of December. This unfortunate date reminds us of two tragedies that this country has faced. One was the fall of Dhaka on 16th of December, and the other was the tragedy at the Army Public School, Peshawar, a few years ago. Both these tragic incidents have some lessons for us. In the fall of Dhaka, the lesson is that a state is created through a social contract between the state and the citizens. If the social contract loosens, if the interaction between the state and the citizen is not strong enough, if the state starts ignoring the rights of the citizens and starts asserting itself too much, then people somehow break away from that social contract. So the Pakistan movement, which initially started in East Bengal, they were more committed, they were more loyal to Pakistan than we were in the West because they initiated the whole process. But they somehow broke away from us because the state did not look after its citizens, and the citizens then broke away. So how does the state take care of its citizens? The mechanism that has been devised is the constitution, the rule of law. And the constitution is that social contract which contains fundamental rights, the rights of the citizens. The state must look after its citizens and ensure provision of fundamental rights to its citizens. And this is the only way that you can keep the citizens engaged with whatever the state is doing. Otherwise, the citizens will get disengaged and the state may no longer be able to survive as it is. The enforcement of fundamental rights, again, that was the topic when I spoke here in 1989. And once again, today, after 30 years, I will re-emphasize that the state can look after its citizens in two ways. Number one, the governance has to be according to the laws laid down in the Constitution. And number two, the state is to ensure that the fundamental rights reach, the fruits of fundamental rights reach the citizens. And police also plays a very important part in this. Unfortunately, for some time, the perception about the police was that it curbs the fundamental rights and freedoms rather than ensuring fundamental rights and freedoms. So maybe time has come that we have to rethink the whole approach of the police, that the police is basically to protect the citizens against the excesses of the state or excesses of other citizens. The police should be perceived as a protector rather than as a persecutor. So this fundamental change, I would emphasize after 30 years, once again in this academy, that you have to teach this to the under-training officers, that this is your primary job. You are there for the citizen, not for a colonial master who is to impose its decisions on the citizens. So this fundamental change in the thought process is important if the social contract is to be kept alive so that there is no such incident as happened many years ago in Bangladesh. East Pakistan broke away. This is one lesson we must not forget. The lesson that we get from the Army Public School incident taking place on this very day some years ago is that that was an incident which shook us all. And it shook us out of the slumber. It in fact prompted us to reconsider our approaches. Terrorism was going on for many, many years before that incident. But that was the incident when we realized that enough is enough. And we as a nation then decided that we have to do something about it. And that is why a national action plan was conceived, it was laid down, and the whole nation then supported that effort. And God has been very kind that we have largely and substantially tackled this issue. The lesson here is that when we get together on one agenda, the entire nation, then we can work wonders. We can achieve anything. So we have to look for those areas where we can get all the people together on one agenda and then go for it together as a nation, and there's nothing that we cannot achieve. So these were the lessons. The other aspect of this Army public school episode was the National Action Plan. And National Action Plan had many items in it, but one of those items relevant for today was reforming the criminal justice system. Now we have to consider as to what progress has been made despite passage of so many years. On the judicial side, we have taken a lot of initiatives, a number of initiatives, and God has been again very kind that somehow we have shaken that system out of its slumber, and some initiatives have been launched whereby justice delivery system is improving, and through the model courts and other initiatives, things are getting better. I can't say that they are now very good, but at least we have made some effort and it is showing results, and things are improving in a rather rapid pace. The other part in the criminal justice system was to be played by the police. And for police, at the government level, unfortunately, nothing significant had happened. No steps were taken. In fact, there were other issues, administrative issues, in which the government and the police were embroiled in. But we were focused. The Supreme Court of Pakistan had come up with a police reforms committee on its own through the courtesy of the Law and Justice Commission. All the inspectors general of the police in the entire country, serving inspectors general, and some reputed and very experienced retired inspectors general and other leaders of the police. They joined that committee, and we came up with many, many initiatives. One of the initiatives was that basically our purpose is to serve the people. And how do you serve the people unless you attend to their grievances? And for grievances, we have to have a mechanism within the police so that people are not driven to go to the courts to solve their issues with the police. The courts are another kind of a dispute resolution mechanism, but it's a formal mechanism. People have to spend a lot of money in that system. But we conceived in the Police Reforms Committee that there should be some internal accountability mechanism within the Department of the Police. And the first decision that we took was that SP complaints were introduced in every district in the country, and you'll be surprised at the response. Within the last few months that these SP complaints have been put in place, 33% reduction in people going to district judiciary against the police. This was nationwide. Throughout the country, the average is 33% reduction, which is a huge reduction. That means that those institutions that we have put in place within the police department in the shape of SP complaints, they have started delivering. So 33% less number of litigants going to the courts for redressal of their grievance against the police. That was before the judiciary at the district level. In the high courts, people used to file writ petitions against the police. The number of writ petitions has been reduced by 15% nationwide, which again is a huge achievement. Not only that people get their issues solved without extra expense of hiring the services of a counsel, going to the court, paying court fees, and then adjournments and things like that. They just go to one office and no expense involved, and if they're satisfied, then they don't have to go to the courts. Number of cases before the courts reduced so that the judges have more time now to attend to the real issues for which the courts were created. So private grievances against other citizens